Still waiting for John. Good.
Are we waiting for John?
I didn't hear, he didn't say he wasn't coming, so.
So should we get started or should we give him a minute to wait?
Up to you.
You're in charge.
Yep.
There he is.
Signing on now?
Yes.
There you go. Hi, John.
Hello, everyone.
Perfect timing. So it is 7 o'clock and I am calling to order the special meeting of Tuesday, January 18th, 2022 of the Architectural Commission of the Village of Long Grove. Would someone care to take attendance
Dean Sylvester?
here?
Matthew
Alan
Aiken?
Ryder. What was that? Alan
Matthew
Ryder.
Aiken's here.
Alan Ryder's there, okay, Zach. Matthew Aiken, sorry, I'm gonna read your names off, like,
Here.
Laura, I'm gonna put your last.
Just Laura is good.
Polacek?
I'm here.
Laura.
Mikolagic. So just call me and then Logic.
Nikolai.
Uh.
Yeah, and then John Plunkett is here. We have a quorum.
So the village president has determined that due to conditions relating to the COVID-19 pandemic, it is not feasible to make the village hall accessible to the Architectural Commission or to the public for this meeting. Hence, we are meeting on Zoom and the meeting is being recorded. So the first order of business is visitor business, but before we get to that, I know that there will be a more formal expression of appreciation, but I think it would be appropriate right now to acknowledge Lynn Michelson-Cohen's 25 years of service on the commission and as chair of the commission, and thank her on our behalf for all of her efforts. So right now, this is the portion of the meeting for general public comments to the commission. The meeting agenda, which was posted online and at Village Hall, included instructions to submit public commentary, or anyone from the public who may be listening may speak now. Does anyone have comments that are not on the agenda? Did we receive any public comments, Amanda?
I reviewed my emails just before this meeting, and there were no emails that were shown to be for public comment for this meeting. I do have just a quick comment when we're done with public comments to introduce another staff member to you.
Okay, so just one more time, any public comments?
I don't see anybody out there.
Okay.
Great, so if it's okay with you, I'd just like to introduce Taylor Wagren. He's a planner here for the village. He works for the Village of Long Grove and the Village of Mundelein. He's been with us, has it been almost 5 years now, Taylor? Can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going on year 6 for myself here at the Village of Mundelein, and prior to that, I was with the city of Valparaiso, Indiana, in Northwest Indiana, if you've heard of it, and I was there for 4 years in the same capacity as a planner over there.
Yeah,
Great.
so I wanted to introduce Taylor because, you know, just with workloads and all the meetings and things like that, just making sure we have staff members that have met everybody and up to speed and see how everybody does things. We just wanted to bring as many people on board. So Jess is still participating as well. She'll be doing the minutes for us here after the meeting is over. But just trying to get our faces out there so everybody is familiarized with the staff that's on hand to you. So,
Great, thank you. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you all.
You too. So the first item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes of the July 19th, 2021 regular meeting of the Architectural Commission. Do any commission members have any comments?
I found one on page 2, where it says a motion was made by Commissioner Mikalajic. There should be a comma right after that, and then second by Commissioner. You see it? Again, on the next one, after approval of May 24th, there should be a comma after the first commissioner.
okay, we'll update the minutes.
Any others?
You'll need a motion.
Right. I'm just giving everyone a minute to review. I didn't find any typos or any
No.
substantive changes in those minutes. So if everyone else agrees, then would someone present a motion, please, to approve meeting minutes from the July 19th regular meeting, please?
I motion
Motion.
to accept, oh, sorry. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Alan.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 18th meeting with the minor modifications, corrections as noted.
Those would be the July 19th.
Oh, I'm
meeting.
sorry. It's noted from January 18th. Thank you. July 19th meetings
Second?
with the following.
I'll
I
second.
Okay.
Yeah, Laura.
It's fine.
So do all those in favor say aye? Is it better for you if we raise our hands, or do you just want us, do you want to take a roll? Amanda?
I can do a roll. I think that's easy.
Sorry to interrupt. My name's Betsy. I'm the village attorney for Long Grove. So just as a side note, Madam Chairman, the votes all need to be done by roll call when you are meeting virtually.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And it's nice to meet you, Betsy.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Betsy. All right, so we'll do roll. Alan Reuter. Laura.
Aye.
Dean Sylvester.
Aye.
Matthew Akins.
Aye.
And John Plunkett.
Aye.
All right. Next minutes.
So then the second item is the motion to approve the architectural committee meeting minutes from the December 20th regular meeting. Does anyone have any comments? Other than John Plunkett, whose name was misspelled throughout the
Oh,
document.
you got it, Jeannie. Good. Thank you.
You bet. I did have one change under paragraph 3. The paragraph beginning with the words based upon the items submitted. The second sentence, I think, was just a little awkwardly phrased, and I would strike the terms materials out of which. And I would start the sentence with the following words: the sign will be constructed. And then I would add out of aluminum. And you could just continue with black lettering. And then in the following sentence, the proposed letter set, the last word should be foot, not feet. And then 2 more paragraphs down, the paragraph beginning with the word additionally, the second sentence in that paragraph, the awning is black canvas with a white paint. I don't know if you need the word in that sentence. It's a little unclear. And then under other business, paragraph 1, in the second paragraph, the middle of the paragraph, the sentence beginning with members of the AC. I would kind of reword that sentence. Members of the AC have brought up their concerns numerous times. I would flip numerous times their concerns. And then I have one more very, very small typo. That's back to section 3. The paragraph, second to the last paragraph, beginning with the AC was favorable to the sign, noting in the last sentence, it says the AC like the contrast of an older building with a modern sign which complements the building well. The word complements should be spelled with an E and not with an I. And that's all I have.
And then I just have one. It's on page 3 of 5 in section 1, the status of the former Oman greenhouse property. In the second paragraph, the second sentence, aerials should be spelled AERIELS.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a good one. Any others? No? Then we will need a motion to approve the Architectural Committee meeting minutes from the December 2021 regular meeting as amended.
Sure, I motion to accept the December 20th, 2021 meeting with the corrections noted.
And I'll second.
Laura Mikolajczyk,
Here, aye.
John Plunkett,
Aye.
Matthew Akins,
Aye.
Alan Reuter.
Aye.
And Jean Sylvester.
Aye.
That passes.
Now we are moving on to item number 2. Is the are the petitioners here?
I
I'm
see
Neil,
them.
I'm the petitioner.
Is the homeowner here?
Yes, I believe that would be the Gallows.
Yes, we're here too.
Oh, okay. So thank you all for being here. And in light of the fact that the owners of the property that are under consideration are here, perhaps we can make this evening a little briefer for them. And unless anyone has an objection, I would ask for a motion to reverse items 2 and 3 of the agenda for tonight's meeting so we could proceed directly to what was item number 3, which would be consideration of a request to construct a new single-family residence at 3994 for the residents. So, or the new residents, excuse me, new owners, so that we could consider this and then they wouldn't have to wait for the rest of the meeting. If everyone agrees, doesn't have any objection, if someone would like to make that motion, please, that would be great.
Fine, I'll do it. A motion to start with the third item on the list for 3994 Orchard Lane
Mhm.
instead of the second one.
Second the motion.
Mikulajic,
Aye.
Alan Reuter, Vicky said aye. Alan, did you say aye?
I did.
All right, Matthew Akins,
Aye.
John Plunkett,
Aye.
and Jean Sylvester.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. And nice to meet you or to have you with us. Amanda, could you give a brief overview of this project, please?
Yes. You see my screen? Okay.
Yes, it's here.
I can see my own. All right, so it's kind of a combined presentation, but we'll take up as you're asking the different residences individually, but they kind of go together in terms of the background and history. So, the subject property is located at 3994 and 3992 Orchard Lane. This is the Orchards neighborhood, which is off of Old McHenry Road and 22, and so it's at the southeast corner of those lots. An aerial view of that same thing, the cul-de-sac community with 7 lots. So the base history about the projects were that back in 2004, 2005, a 7-lot subdivision was presented to the village of Long Grove via a PUD. That PUD was approved, and shortly after the first 3 homes were built, between the time frame of 2005 and 2007. Then the 4th house was constructed sometime approximately around 2014. This past year, 2021, in September, a permit was applied for in September of 2021 for the 3992 residence, which is, I have to go back a couple slides. It's the lot. 3992 is the one closest to Old McHenry Road, and then 3994 is the lot immediately to the east of that one, and they're on the north side of the road. So then the permit was issued for 3992 for that structure in late fall. Then subsequently, a permit came before the village in about November for 3994 Orchard, and that after revisiting the PUDs again and taking a look, we realized there was a section missed for design criteria for the PUD that required the architectural review. And I'm going to skip these because these are the 3992 and hit the 3994, which again, like I said, has the similar criteria in terms of the history. And then this is the actual plans for the home there. So the home, the second one in the subdivision, this is a 2-story side-loaded property that is being proposed for the Dennenberg family. Here is the elevations for the side and the front of the project, which you have in your packet. Everybody should have received a copy of all the elevations and the materials. Same thing, this is the rear and another side elevation of the property. And then images of the materials which staff received, and these are the actual pictures of the materials that we took here in the office. So there's stone, there's shingles, there's a stucco that's being proposed for a portion of the front facade, and then a brick as well that's proposed for the facade. And this is just with the materials together with kind of the front facade to see where each of those materials go. You'll see kind of that mottled look up on the front elevation. To the left-hand side is where the stucco is, and then the kind of larger, what looks like a larger brick is actually the stone, and then the smaller brick is where the brick is being proposed. So just to get context of the neighborhood, here are some images. This is a vacant lot. It's going to be the last lot left. 3995 Orchard Lane. This is an image of that home that's in the neighborhood. 3996 Orchard. 3997. And then 3998 Orchard. So those are all the different houses. And then now the two that are being proposed, and then, like I said, there's one lot that will be left after these homes are constructed. If anybody wants me to go back to any of these slides, just let me know. But we took a look at the anti-monotony regulations and the mandatory criteria. In terms of the garage placement, it meets the requirements. There's supposed to be roof hangs of over 8 inches. The building materials should be similar to the other materials that are used in the neighborhood, but they should have different styles of house, which, this house presents different layouts, different styles, different, architectural elements are accentuated. If you have multiple dwellings in a property, so if you have PUD, you have to use at least 4 techniques for differentiating the houses, and that's, the placement on the lots, different architectural details on them, the roof heights could be different floor plans. So this meets at least 4 of those criteria that are outlined in the code. And for the recommendation for the AC, we need to take into consideration the overall design that's being presented and in the context of the neighborhood. And again, make sure that they're using those 4 techniques, and really, how does it align in terms of the character of the new construction projects for Long Grove, and does this meet kind of that criteria and threshold that you would anticipate for the community? So,
Amanda, could you go back to the drawings, please?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have one comment. I think the materials fit in really well with the other houses in the neighborhood, and I do see the 4 requirements and the anti-monotony requirements are met here. I do have some questions for the architect. The front elevation and the 2 side elevations, particularly the side elevations, not so much the front, but the 2 side elevations, there are very large expanses of stucco that almost read like blank walls. And I wondered if you would consider breaking up those walls with some type of detailing or some type of ornamentation. The other houses in the neighborhood seems to me, have a little bit more variation. And this house reads as a little bit of a contrast to that.
Well, I appreciate the comment. Thank you. I think that in the context of the size of the elevations presented, those seem like very large areas. But if you actually look at the square footage of the areas, they're not as large as some of the other areas. My house is right next door to this one. I would be the house directly east of this lot, and I will be looking at the side elevation on this drawing. My house also has a large ephes area, very similar to this, where we have a roof break, and that's on the 2nd floor plus part of the 1st floor. So in comparison, mine is almost 1.5 times the area of what you see here. But when you look at the house, when you drive up, because you never really see that one elevation, even though right now that's probably the most open view of the house. You take the rest of the house into consideration with different materials and perspective, the roof and so forth. And I don't think it's going to be as overpowering as the drawings would suggest. So again, bear in mind, the roof is going to be a darker material shingle, and this ephes is going to actually be the lightest material used on the house. So it's unlike the drawings where it shows the roof being white and kind of almost non-existent, and then the ephes is a lot of dots that reads very dark and overpowering. In reality, that ephes material is the lightest material and is surrounded by by roof and darker brick, medium tone stone. So I think I consider that as being fairly well balanced if you take the tone and the area into account compared to the material that's darker with smaller scale. I would be happy to discuss any additional trim, detailing, possibly changing materials with the owners. But at the end of the day, it's not me driving this, it's them and it's their home. I, as a neighbor, don't have a problem looking at that side elevation. And Joe is going to be on the other side of them, looking at the other side elevation of their house.
I see the two different materials with, the sill course and below, and there are three different materials here on this elevation, which is the front, but could we see the two side elevations again, Amanda? So see this one on the side elevation, it doesn't say which side it is. That's an awful lot of that one material. And I took a drive through the neighborhood. The homes are lovely in there, and I know that you designed those, so I appreciate that. But it seems, and particularly the house at 3992, there's a little bit more variation than this expanse of a wall. And in Long Grove, we consider the side and the rear elevations as important as the front elevations. And I just think that this design would benefit from a little bit more detailing and a little bit more ornamentation on these sides.
Again, I appreciate that, but what's going through my mind is, okay, if we do make any changes, chances are you would ask us to come back to your next meeting. And frankly, the whole reason for having this special meeting right now is because we are really, really trying to get the construction going and not hold it up.
I understand. And I appreciate that. I don't have any other issues with the design at all. And we certainly will need to hear from the other commissioners, but if the other commissioners agree that, a little bit more detailing might be helpful here, that may be something that might be able to be handled through staff. We could work with you so that it wouldn't have to come back for the next meeting, but let's see what other people have to say about it. Those are just my comments.
Thank you.
Alan Reuter, I concur that the elevation is very attractive. I commend the utilization of 3 and 4 different products on the exteriors to create a lot more interest on them. I do concur that one elevation probably does have an extraordinary amount of ephes on it, and perhaps increasing the amount of stone or brick to the level of the windows on the first level might break it up, make it a little bit more interesting.
Just for clarification, what we're talking about here is the stucco that there's a lot of plain stucco there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just on the side elevation. This one's fine.
yes.
On the right side, on that.
And there's another side elevation, I think, isn't there, Amanda?
There, this one.
Yeah, where the garage is.
Yeah.
This one doesn't bother me as much.
I think
And I'll
this,
just,
I think this would benefit from a little bit more. But it is not our intention to delay the process. We don't want to delay anything for the homeowners. We are sympathetic and understanding of their desire to move forward. So,
Can I say something as a homeowner?
Mhm.
I have elderly parents that are going to be moving in with us, and there's a sense of urgency. We were hoping to have our foundation go in December, and unfortunately, we had to be put off to January. We really cannot be pushed off another month till you have the next meeting. The foundation is going to be the foundation no matter what the situation is. As homeowners, my husband and I would feel comfortable having the foundation going in. And if there are adjustments that need to be made, can we have those made while the foundation goes in? Because obviously we're in winter right now, and we're really fighting the winter weather, and we need to get this foundation in. I need to get my parents, they're elderly. I need to get them, they're in a condo right now. I need to get them out of that condo in with us as soon as possible. And I really would appreciate if we could work together to get this taken care of.
Madam Chair, may I?
please.
Yeah, the Village of Long Grove does not issue foundation permits, so the whole thing has to be ready to go before the foundation should be laid. That question was asked by the developer on this project as well. And I think you pointed out earlier, Madam Chair, that what we're looking here is not to necessarily bring the Denenbergs or the petitioner back to the table for the AC. That's something that's agreed upon, could be handled by staff and addressed by staff after it's agreed upon by the AC. So I shared with staff the concerns of the Denenbergs and their desire to get things moving to accommodate their needs. And I just want to make sure that the rest of the commission was aware of that as well.
if you don't mind my chiming in for a minute, in respect, appreciation and respect for all the comments made on this topic so far. Forgive me for being a contrarian. As I read it, I don't mind it the way it is. It's a home with a lot of different materials going on, and I almost kind of like the cleanliness of the EFS as it's drawn here and planned. And I'd be a little concerned that, yes, we could maybe add some trim. I'm not sure exactly how that would be done. And again, it would get it a little busier looking than it already is.
I agree with John. There's a lot of material on here. Once the color's on, I think you feel differently. With the dark roof too.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with John. I think some of the blank spaces that don't have like roof coloring and all that on there, I think kind of set things off a little bit, make them look a little bit more stark than they might look once completed. And I do see, multiple materials being used on each side. So I don't necessarily know what would look better than kind of what's there now. And that, that kind of cleanliness look on the side, I think once you see it kind of against the roof color, I think it would look better than it does kind of in just these elevations.
Right, plus this is a flat drawing. Once you have dimension and shadowing, it won't look like this. It will give a character just by the shadowing of different dimensions.
And may I ask, I assume that the homeowners have reviewed this and are pleased with the design?
Yes, we're very pleased.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. All right. Well, that's good enough for me, as long as the other commissioners don't feel, it obviously meets the criteria of the ordinance. Alan, if
Okay with
you're,
that?
sorry,
I'm okay with everything.
okay,
I'm okay with the plan, with the elevations then.
okay. All right. And then could I just see the rear elevation one more time? Yeah, I like this elevation. The two sides made me pause, but if the other commissioners are pleased with it, and more importantly, if the homeowner is pleased with it and it fits with the criteria of the ordinance, I have no further objection. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve the request for this residence, please do so.
I'll make a motion that we approve it as it's drawn.
Second motion.
3994 Orchard Lane.
And I second the motion.
So that, I'm sorry, Plunkett, that was you that made the motion?
Ellen,
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
that's my second.
All right, and then Alan Reuter second. All right, so Plunkett,
aye.
Reuter,
Aye.
Akins,
Aye.
Mikulajic,
Aye.
and Chairman Sylvester.
Aye.
Okay, yeah.
So now new item 3, formerly item 2, is consideration of a request to construct a new single-family residence at 3992 Orchard Lane. Amanda, do you want to add anything to what you previously said?
No, just reiterating, you know, this was the house that first came through the village. And then I guess I do have a couple things to add now that I'm going to do that. So this was the first house that staff reviewed in the neighborhood recently. And a permit has been issued and there is a foundation that has been poured. But when we decided and had conferred with, you know, legal counsel, you know, they thought that it was also a good idea to send both cases to the commission to take a look at the architecture and the material that are being used. There's also an issue with the side load garage requirements in terms of the code. And so that's something that will have to be taken up in terms of a PUD amendment. So that there is a requirement that only 25% of the homes in the subdivision can have a front load garage, and there's already over 25% that do. So that was an issue with the last house because that house was side loaded. So this is one that kind of has to retroactively go seek that relief from the village code. So, but other than that, you know, the elevations here is the front elevation and one of the side elevations. And we have the rear elevation and the other side elevation. So this house is a bit different. It has more siding. I think the house built in 2014 had some more siding that was proposed as opposed to the, you know, kind of the stone and brick look. This is a party board siding. So, and kind of laid out for you guys the colors, which, you know, really go with the rest of the neighborhood in terms of the coloring that you'll see on most of the houses in that subdivision. I know that we have Miran and Joe who have been working on the home designs and plans, and they are on the line to speak about if there are any questions for them on the project and materials.
So, excuse me for interrupting if I did. So the homeowners at 3994, are they still on the line? Did they hang up? Okay, good. So they don't have to.
No, we're still on.
Oh, okay. So your petition was granted, so you don't actually need to stay on the line any longer if you don't want to.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate
You're
Thank
it.
you for passing. it. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you and welcome to Long Grove.
Good luck.
Excited. We're close neighbors. We're in Buffalo Grove right now, but we're looking forward to moving.
Great.
More than you
glad to
know.
have you. Thank you. Okay, so on to 3992 now. So do the commissioners understand this design calls for a front-loading garage, which exceeds the number of front-loading garages allowed in that neighborhood?
I'm sorry, may I ask a question?
Yes.
This is Milan Fireman, but I'm the architect and one of the original developers of the subdivision. This is the first I've heard of this 25% requirement. Is this a requirement of is this a current requirement of the village zoning, or was this part of the PUD approval for our subdivision?
It was part of the PUD approval, but it was codified at the time of the approval of the PUD. So in the packets for the meeting, there should be the old code that was codified during that time of the PUD and was referenced as part of the PUD. And then it's also been carried over into a new code section, pretty much verbatim copied what it previously was in 2004 and 2005.
How can it be changed? I thought the foundation was poured.
What they need to do is go to the zoning board of appeals and request an amendment. And based on the configuration of the property, based on the foundation being laid, those are all facts that'll be laid into evidence before the PCZBA. And then they will make the decision at that point to either grant a variance or grant an amendment to the PUD or not. And then based on that decision will be the next action.
So what's before us today is we can review the design and decide if the design meets with the criteria of the ordinance as we are required to interpret it. We can issue a provisional recommendation, and that would be conditional upon or conditioned, excuse me, upon the petitioners seeking zoning relief. Or we could not recommend approval. But I think it would behoove us to look at the design and make a determination on the design and leave the other issue for an appropriate body that is not the Architectural Commission. Do you agree with that, Greg?
Yes, that's absolutely accurate, Madam Chair. The AC can now review the design, make sure they're comfortable with it, do a provisional recommendation, and then we'll get with the petitioners and explain to them their next steps in order to seek relief from the PCZBA.
If I may say something, I'm Joe Gallo. I'm the actual builder, developer, and this is my personal home that we're building. We used to live in the corner at 3997, and I sold it 6-9 months ago in order to purchase and build a smaller ranch on the property. And everything was approved. So we started with foundation, we rough graded, the gas is in. We're actually starting to plate and build floors. And now I'm understanding that there might be a zoning issue because we exceed 25% of the properties there that have front loading garages. The problem I have here is I can't load from the right side because of septic field. The other side is a scenic corridor, so I can't load from the other side. Not that we had thought of doing that, it's just that this particular house fit really nicely on that property in the curve. So I mean, I'm kind of concerned now of my home. I'm building both homes because I'm the builder. So I'm concerned that my foundation's in the ground and I need to close it up so I don't have to worry about freezing, thawing, cracking as much as I possibly can. And now I'm hearing that there's a requirement that, I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of when we got the PUD 18 years ago or 17 years ago.
Well, I would offer this, and then if and if I'm speaking out of turn, I'll defer to our legal counsel, but the PUD is a PUD that you're familiar with because it's your PUD. Your development team has come before the Architectural Commission before in the past. Certainly, you know, according to the PUD, that any project going before, or any project before it's constructed, should go before the Architectural Commission. At that point, if you didn't know about the 25%, the Architectural Commission certainly would have been able to communicate that to you. I think this was a bypass of the AC, even though the plans were reviewed by our planning team. So I mean, that's where I want to go with my statement, and then I'll defer to Village Council if she has anything to add.
Sure. Only just to say that what we have here is the need for two separate processes, but they can occur parallel. So there is a zoning issue. That's a matter ultimately for the village board to make a determination on, and they will do that after there's been a public hearing that's conducted by the Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals. And they'll make that based on the testimony at the public hearing and the recommendation from the PCZBA. So for purposes of tonight, the Architectural Commission isn't charged with reviewing zoning issues, variations, text amendments. The Architectural Commission is asked to review the design of the project in light of the design criteria of the village code and the purposes for which the Architectural Commission reviews plans related to the quality of the materials, the similarity and variation as compared to other buildings in the subdivision and in the neighborhood. So I think I would encourage you, Madam Chair, to try to set aside the issue of the front load versus the side load garage for purposes of this evening and focus on reviewing the architectural design of the building. And then you'll make your recommendation. Because there's still zoning relief needed, as you already mentioned, Madam Chair, that your decision tonight will be advisory to the village board, and the ultimate approvals on the zoning matters will go before the PCZBA and the village board at separate times.
Thank you for that. I understand. Do any of the commission members have any questions for either the village manager or the village attorney?
Yeah.
Do the commission members have any comments on the design?
I like the design. It's fine. I approve it.
Could we see the side and rear elevations, Amanda?
This is the rear and one of the sides.
Yeah.
Front of the
I like it too. It's a nice house, Joe.
Thank you. I was hoping to get it built.
I really like the variation. I took a drive through the neighborhood and looked at each of the houses very carefully, individually and collectively as a whole. And I would encourage all of the commission members to do that whenever something like this comes up. And I think this house fits in very nicely with the rest of the houses. There is a lot of variation, but there are also there's a lot of commonality among the materials, the colors, and the ornamentation. And I think this house fits in very nicely with the other houses in that neighborhood.
I was there today too. And took a look at the different materials, and it fits really well too.
Yeah, this is the one that, there's some ephes on this one too here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Amanda.
I was saying there looks to be some ephes on this house here. So,
That's my old house.
There's supposed to be what here?
The ephes, there's some ephes on this one, like that, the one that's proposed.
Yeah.
At 3994.
Mhm. Are there any other comments on the design for this?
I like it. I think it looks good, and I do like the way things are broken up. You know, in each section, and some of the design concepts carried over to each side, front and rear as well. I think that kind of ties it all together. I think it looks pretty good.
Are the garage doors solid steel all the way, or there'll be any window lights in the 3 garage doors?
Are you asking me, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there's windows. There'll be windows. If you get to the front elevation where the garage is, the actual doors themselves will have, the top band will have windows all the way across, and it'll look more like a craftsman style door.
Thank you.
Same thing with the front entrance door. I've gotten away from a full view door, and we went into more of a craftsman style door is what we're looking at putting in there.
Any other questions or comments?
It looks fine to me.
Okay, so then if everyone is in agreement, we will need a motion making a provisional recommendation approving the plans as presented here, conditioned upon the petitioner seeking zoning relief. Someone like to care to make that motion? Would someone care to make that motion?
Make a motion that we make a provisional recommendation to approve the architectural drawings as submitted, as noted.
Conditioned upon the petitioner seeking zoning relief.
Seeking zoning relief. Thank you.
Second?
I'll second that.
Was that you, Mike, Matt Akins? Did you second that, or was that?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, sorry, I just out of view on my screen. So, Reuter,
Aye.
Akins,
Aye.
Nikolajic,
Aye.
Plunkett,
Aye.
Chair Sylvester.
Aye.
Okay. Passes.
Thank you. Now,
We-
other business. Excuse me?
Madam Chair, real quick, we would ask the petitioner to just get in touch with staff and begin the process of seeking relief from the zoning. That way they can get that moving as quickly as possible.
Mr. Jackson, can you tell me what that entails, what I need to do?
You'll have to work with our planning, our community development, which is Amanda's team, to put together a request for an amendment to the PUD. We're seeking relief from the 25% requirement. That will then go to a schedule for the Zoning Board of Appeals. They will take action and make their recommendation. That'll go to the village board, and the village board will take their recommendation and act upon it at that point.
Can you give me any idea of time on something like that? Because right now I have a foundation in the ground that my plans were approved. I mean, I'm kind of.
The next meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, plus there is a legal notification process. So I'd have to talk to Amanda in more detail. But the next time the Zoning Board of Appeals meets is February 15th, I think. I can confirm that date. And if it does go on that date and a recommendation was to come out of that body, it would go to the board meeting immediately after that, which is probably the following week if my calendar is right.
Okay, so I guess I'll have to ask them the question about what happens if they say no and they've already granted me a permit and foundations are in the ground, then what do I do? Or should I be asking them that?
I think that's a question for when you bring up your petition to the Zoning Board of Appeals to have that discussion with them at that point.
So I'm on a standstill is what you're telling me on my permit.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to other business, we have item number 1 is status or update on the Oman Greenhouse property. And Greg, I think you might have some information for us.
Yeah, when I attended my first architectural commission meeting, which was right when Jim Hogue pushed me off and pushed me in the fire and said, "Here, go." So that was back in July, my second week with the village. One of the things that this commission brought up to me was the past complaint or issue regarding the property on 83 known as Oman's greenhouse. So the commission was looking for some kind of action to be taken to remedy the property maintenance issues associated with that property. I had met with the property owner, and the property owner had talked to me initially about a development project for that parcel of land. And as we had that discussion, the topic of the property maintenance issues came up, and I expressed to him that it was imperative for him to develop a plan for corrective action to those property maintenance issues and bring it back to the village with a time and action plan. We failed to get any communication from the property owner whatsoever. I directed staff to begin enforcement action on that property. Staff conducted a property maintenance inspection, cited the property on 5 separate violations. The property owner then came before a hearing officer after 1 continuance and had agreed to make corrective action on that property, including the demolition of what initially was 2 buildings, but we're now getting modified to reflect all 5 buildings. So that is underway right now. We're going in front of the hearing officer again on February 8th. The demolition on the 2 current buildings has been delayed because we need approval from ComEd and NICOR, and plus we need a watershed inspection to make sure that everything's in order when they begin the demo. But let me assure you that as recent as 3 p.m. this afternoon, I had conversation with our code enforcement team who said that the demolition is going to begin. It's just securing these permits from Watershed, ComEd, and NICOR. In fact, I had asked our code enforcement team to call the external affairs office of both NICOR and ComEd to see what we could do to either expedite it or make sure they were on file, and then to get back to me with that. So I'm expecting information on that as well this week. The fence will be taken down that borders Briarcrest. That fence belongs to the property owner, but we have asked that that fence not be removed until everything else has been taken care of, so we don't compromise the appearance of Briarcrest. Action's already been taken to remove the vegetation. To a great extent, that has been done. There are still some odds and ends that have to be taken care of, but a backhoe was on property to turn around and take care of the excess vegetation. So what we see in front of us right now is the demo of the first two buildings, once permitted by the utilities and watershed, the adding on of the 3 additional buildings. The vegetation is just about complete, and then the fence will be the final thing that gets complete. Once the permits from ComEd and NICOR are all in hand, we'll get a better sense of an end date, a better sense of, approximation on when it's going to be complete. I will tell you that he has not avoided contact with us. He has not avoided contact with our code enforcement team. Our code enforcement team, which is our partners in Mundelein through intergovernmental agreement, have done an exceptional job of dogging this issue. They've been relentless. And I've also asked them to seek our prosecutions counsel just to make sure that we get every I dotted and every T crossed as we continue to move forward. But once again, February 8th, the property owner is back in front of the hearing officer to begin to list the corrective action. He was subject to fines of $750, and it could have been $750 a day. I think that got, to be honest with you, that part of the enforcement action grabbed his attention. So rest assured, just as you're interested in this, I know the community of Briarcrest is, and we've got the pulse of this. We're staying very close to this issue. So
that's great. Well, thank you for that. And thanks to everybody at Mundelein also for pursuing it. I'm just curious, the 2 that will be demolished first, are those the 2 along 83 or are those 2 northeast of those? Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I've got the diagrams for that. I'd be more than happy to send it to the commission members. I don't have it off the top of my head.
I was just curious. I mean,
one of them,
down?
Gene, one of them is the closest one to 83.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
good. So they'll all come down. Is that correct?
Our direction is to have all 5 of them raised. That's correct.
Great. And then if
Even
nothing,
the ones in the back?
There's five buildings that are property maintenance issues. I'd have to go and drive back around Briarcrest and take a look from the backside and from the Aptekissic side to get a better look. But we know that there's 5 buildings that suffer from property maintenance issues, and those are the ones that are being taken down.
great. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
And a commission can reach out to me, any commissioner can reach out to me anytime, and I'll give you any kind of update I can if you've got some questions or you see something that shouldn't be happening.
I forget if it's known if what the owner's plans are for the property ultimately.
On his approach to me, he was looking at mixed use development, residential topside retail on the bottom, capitalizing on the visibility on Aptekissic and 83. The question that remains unanswered is his level of density for those properties. And there is also requirements with the Briarcrest PUD to have some kind of say into exactly what that property is going to look like. So he has not come back with a plan talking about density. It was a conceptual plan without a lot of detail about mixed use development there.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you very much. And thanks to everybody again at Mundelein for helping with that. I have one more thing to add. I attended the village board meeting earlier this month, and I learned about a demolition request that that had been applied for, I guess, and processed in the village. And previous to that, I was really unaware of demolitions that had occurred in the village. I don't know why I was unaware of it. It just never occurred to me. But of course, there are demolitions that happen in the village, and I think that might be something that this commission might be interested in learning about. So I wondered if Greg, if you as village manager would be able to notify us of demolition requests or demolition permit requests, just so that we're aware of them.
Absolutely. And I am also, I've been given direction subsequent to that meeting to look at presenting some language to amend the village code as it relates to demolitions with a greater focus on review. So I'm happy to send it to the architectural commission or advise the architectural commission.
Great, great, wonderful. Thank you. Is there anything else? Does anyone else have anything to add? No. Well, if I haven't said it before, I should have, but I just wanted to say thank you very much. I appreciate all of your patience with this meeting and all of the future meetings. I guess if you stick around long enough, you end up taking someone's place. So hang in there. But thank you. I will do the best I can as chair of this. But like I said, there's a big transition for everybody. There's a big transition for the village of Long Grove with Mundelein. There's a big transition with Greg, and I can't thank him enough for helping all of us. And I personally appreciate it very much. And I know that everyone in the commission appreciates it very much. So I think with a little bit of patience, we'll be able to get through this and do our jobs. So thank you.
I have one more. Go ahead, Jeannie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if that's it, whenever, if there's nothing else, whenever any one of you are ready to make a motion to adjourn.
I have a quick question. Are they going to come up with different ideas to do a barrier for the bridge?
Yes. I wake up at 2 a.m. envisioning a truck being stuck and I'm being required to push it out. No, Laura. Yeah, absolutely. We've had subsequent strikes to that bridge, but how they reconstructed it is ending up being a can opener for the trucks and peeling off the top part of the trucks, the poor truck drivers. But yes, we were currently reviewing 2 proposals we had for an overhead detection system. We are looking at our signage placement. We're also talking about potentially putting better language further down the road.
People ignore them, signs.
Yeah, they really do. And
they need like something coming down and hitting them or something. I don't know.
They wouldn't let us install a guillotine. We checked with Lake County.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't let us do it. But. So no, yes, we are absolutely working on it. Trustee O'Reilly's leading that charge, and myself and the village engineer have been engaged with that.
People always ask me, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think that bridge has brought a lot of attention to Long Grove and to historic preservation in Long Grove and to National Register status in Long Grove. And as a historic preservationist and, historian, I'm very happy to see that and encourage that everywhere. And I think I'm sorry that it keeps getting hit, but I do think that the more attention to those types of things, the better. So anything we can do to help with the bridge, we're happy to do that too.
Thank you. I'd just like to add one thing, if I may. Betsy Gates Alford is an exceptional attorney and she's a great part of our team. And Betsy, I just want to thank you for being here because I know you had to run from one meeting to the next. And so it's absolutely much appreciated.
Not a problem. Glad to be here. And I know I don't normally have the pleasure of attending your architectural meetings, but it was very nice to see all of your faces tonight and be a part of your meeting. So hopefully I'll have a chance to see you again in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
All right. So unless there is anything else, the next meeting is scheduled for March 21st, 2022, which is spring break for those of us who have school-age children.
Not February?
February. We have a meeting.
I'm sorry.
February
It's February, yeah.
21st.
It's January now.
These are my computer glasses, not my reading glasses. You're right, February 21st. So thank you for catching that. So yeah, so we'll be here February. And Greg, thank you very much. So it was Greg who initiated the village to contact each and every one of you to ask for your updated contact information. So hopefully all of you will be receiving notices now on a regular basis. So thank you, Greg, for that too.
Sure.
So, like I said, there's a lot of transitions, there's a lot of moving pieces here, but we'll get it straight and keep going forward. So I'll be here February too, not just in March.
Yeah, I won't be
There
here
are
much.
cases.
So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
I'm getting to you.
Okay.
Good,
All right, Reuter,
good.
Mikolajic,
Aye.
Akins,
Aye.
Plunkett,
Aye.
Chairman Sylvester.
Aye.
All right. 8:10.
Pretty good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good night.
you. Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Night.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.
Bye.
Nice meeting everybody.